All right, we are in chapter 6, differential equations. This is packet CC. This is a BC topic only. So this is called Euler's method. Some people mispronounce it as Euler, but it is Euler. So this technique is to help us with tangent lines and tangent line approximations. And it really goes through the idea of how a derivative graph was created like way back in the day. So we're starting off with the function e to the x, and here's our graph of e to the x. We know that at f of 0, e to the 0 is a 1. All right, so we know that this coordinate is a 1. We also know the derivative of e to the x is e to the x. So that means that the slope then at 0 is also a 1. So if we drew a tangent line here, that's going to be a 1. So step 1 here, sketch the tangent line. All right, so I'm going to try to sketch a tangent line here. All right, so check. Use the sketch to graphically estimate the tangent line approximation at f of 2. All right, so I've got to draw that a little longer. All right, so then if that's my approximation at 2, let's call that a 3.9. Is this a good approximation? I would say no. I don't think it's a very good approximation. We can see from the graph that f of 2 is quite a bit above. The idea of good or close enough is always a relative term. But mathematically speaking, compared to where our tangent line started and we knew we were spot on at just one point, you can see the separation occur as you're going, and then there's just a lot of separation there at 2. So I would say it's too far away, so I would say it's not a very good approximation. So when might a tangent line be a good approximation? Well, from this picture here, I'd say when we're pretty close to the point of tangency, because once we start getting some separation, especially in this graph, the separation changes very quickly. So this slope it's a constant slope. It's not changing, right? It's a tangent line. It's just a line. So as you get further away from that line, your approximation is going to get worse. All right, when would a tangent line be a poor approximation? Well, when you've got a big gap from the actual graph you're trying to approximate. When using a tangent line approximation for f of x, what issues arise when trying to approximate values that are not close? Well, it's too far away. It's a poor approximation. All right, Euler's method is meant to address these issues and lead to a better approximation. A tangent line is limited by the fact that the slope is constant, which we just talked about, and we can't readjust the function. So you can't change it. That's what the slope is. As a result, the tangent lines generally become poor estimators as we approximate x values further from the point of tangency. So how far away is no good? Well, that's hard to say. That depends on the problem. That gets into statistics on how close you need to be. But visually speaking, well, too far away. Like there's no real mathematical description there. That gap is just too big. All right, so sliding over to the next page. So let's re-examine the previous problem. So same picture, e to the x. Let's adjust our tangent line at x of 1. All right, so instead of just being at 0. So sketch the line at 0, 1. But then we're going to stop at x equals 1. All right, so I'm going to try to draw out my tangent line here. And then we're going to stop there. And it says it should be at 1, 2, right? Because I just drew a slope of a 1. And I was going through 0, 1. So if I go rise 1, run 1, the next point is going to be at 1, 2. All right, now next part here. Sketch the tangent line of f at 1, e. So I'm going to sketch tangent line here. And I'm going to go backwards here so they intersect. So you see that there is a gap there. All right, sketch that guy. Check. Draw a segment parallel to the tangent from 2 that goes through 1, 2. All right, so they just want me to sort of connect the dots here. So I'm going to start here at 1, 2, and I'm going to try to draw it parallel to that blue line that's already there. And I don't know where I'm going to stop, so I'm just going to keep going. I can always erase later. All right, so with this correction at x equals 1, what is your new approximation for f of 2? All right, well, f of 2 is going to be right over here. let's see, our first approximation, what did we have? We had 3.9. All right, so we started off at 3.9, and now our f of 2 is, I don't know, it's 5.1. I don't know. So hold on, I don't want to do 3.9 that way. I wanted to do f of 2 was equal to 3.9 from our first example. We'll call it 5.1. I don't know, looks a little bit higher than 5. Maybe it's 5. It's an approximation. I'm trying to draw a straight line. Let's be honest, it's not doing everything I needed to do. All right, so let's readjust our picture here. Let's recenter. Okay, so now with this correction, what is your new approximation? All right, I'll answer the question down here. So we have f of 2 is about 5.1. It already says approximation, so there's no reason to overkill it here with the approximation symbol because we're doing a calculation, so we're saying that that is equal. Why was this method more accurate than the first time? Well, we took it in smaller chunks. So since we did it in smaller chunks, we were able to limit the gap here that would be created because we did it in more than one piece. All right, number 6, estimate f of 2 by making more adjustments as we did, but now we're going to go at a half at 1 and 1.5. All right, so then let's clean this up then. All right, so I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to start at 1, but I'm going to stop at 0.5. I'm going to change colors. So I'm going to try to draw my tangent line here. All right, I'm going to back it up, and I'm going to start it so it's parallel again. All right, then I'm going to draw my tangent line here. All right, I'm going to back it up so it's parallel. Draw my tangent line here. All right, back it up so it's parallel. Well, let's keep going on that one. And now we're up top. So now this approximation is more like a 5.9. All right, so I did my 0.5, I did my 1, I did my 1.5. So now my f of 2 looks like a 5.9. So in the end, we're getting closer, which is good. That's the purpose. You see what our f of 2 is. You know, it's considering we started at 3.9, 5.1, 5.9 with more smaller pieces, we're getting a more accurate result, which sort of sounds like going with our rectangle approximation. The more rectangles, right, the smaller the width, the less error we're going to have. All right, so then we go over here. So the idea behind Euler's method is that we can graph our tangent lines. We have our starting point and we have a differential equation, but for whatever reason, we can't separate them. So previously we separated our function, right? We moved the y's to the left with the dy. We move our x's to the right with the dx. We're able to integrate both sides. But what happens if you have a function? You cannot separate those letters. There still needs to be a technique for us to accomplish our task, and this is that technique. All right, so then we can still go back and sort of solve for that particular solution, or right, to solve that differential equation as the direction stated in the past. All right, so vocabulary. So we're looking for, they're giving us the x's that we want to graph at. They're telling us to adjust at every 0.5, and Mr. Brian Passwater, who created my document here, is saying that H is a very common notation, but I would even venture to say that delta X is a more common notation than the H. And that everybody does call it a step size, so you're going to see that notation a lot here. So there's a couple ways we can go ahead and do this. It just depends on what information you need, how accurate you want to be. They do say they want us to solve this graphically. So if we come over here and I'm going to evaluate my slope at 0, 1, okay, because that's the starting point they want us to do. So that's where I got to draw my first slope line. So I'm looking at my derivative equation here. So that means my slope is going to be a -1. All right, so I'm trying to use this 1 on this side as my end here, so I can tell I'm going to go down 1 over 1. And they did say a step size of 0.4, so I'm going to stop at that distance of 0.4. All right, so then there's my next stopping point. So if my x now is a 0.4, I can see that my y here is going to be a 0.6, right? It's pretty clear on the graph there. So if I want to find my next slope, then I'm going to have a negative 0.2. Okay, so I'm going to pick up where we left off. I'm going to try to draw a negative 0.2. So negative 0.2, if you want to think about it, right, it's down 1 over 5. So I've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I need to stop at 0.8. So I'm trying to use this as my end target to connect my dots, but I know I'm going to stop at 0.8. Now, I don't know if that's good, because that's really down 1 over 2, and that's really not the same thing. So let's see if we can pick that up a little bit. Excuse me. All right, so now that gives me my next point. So I'm going to pick up from there. All right, now it's like, I know my x is 0.8, but I really do not know what my y is. So if we're going to just solve this purely graphically, then we can approximate and say this is 0.45. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to do it in a numeric method so we can have more accuracy than trying to pick off 0.45 out of a graph. So now, again, going back to our slope equation, I've got 0.45. So I've got to make sure that I subtract. I'm going to get my negative 0.35 as my slope. All right, and again, that's going to take me that step size of 0.4, which is going to take me to the end of the graph. Hold on, this is a negative, this is positive, right? I got x and I got y. So if I say 0.8 minus, I'm going to be positive. So this downward slope that I went down, it's going to be greater, so I should finish higher than I was when I was there. So I'm looking for somewhere over here, so that I'm looking at my y of 1.2 is going to be about a 0.7. All right, that's my ballpark picture over here. I'm actually going to write it on this side. And that's strictly from the graph, okay? So you can tell just from the graph itself, I'm not very accurate. Like, I'm trying to read it, I'm trying to draw a straight line, like it's not. So one method that is used often is this table technique. All right, and you'll see it in the textbook in one of the examples. People put it in different order. Some people don't put all of these items in there. You got to own it, whatever you think here, for it to help you organize yourself. Okay, so this is what everything represents here, right? We've got my basic XY coordinate pair. I've got my dx, right, my change in x, which happens to be h, all right, or if they give you delta x. Some people will put the delta x here, that's fine. This is my slope, and in this problem here, right, it's x minus y. And again, some people prefer to keep the x minus y near the table so you don't forget what your equation was. You got to own it. This is for you. So if I have a change in x, I need to know my change in y. And then this is my new x coordinate, and this is my new y coordinate. So as we change from A to this middle dot, I can figure out the coordinates. And then as I change over here, I can figure out those coordinates. And I'm not trying to pull it off the graph. All right, so we're going to go through this, and then this is the last thing we have for today. So they have to give you a starting point, right? So I'm starting off at 0, 1. They gave me my dx of 0.4. All right, I know I'm going to be finishing at 1.2. So every time my x changes, it's going to be a 1.4. So some people like preloading their chart here because they know where they're going to stop. Right, and then this is going to be my answer because that's my y coordinate at 1.2. All right, I said some people like to do that, other people don't want to do that. Like that's, again, this is, you got to own it. So we don't need any of that extra stuff here. So moving along. So now that I have my coordinates, if I put my coordinates 0 and 1 into my slope expression here, I'm going to get a -1 slope. We already calculated that out earlier. That is not really a surprise, but I'm just pretending that we're just doing this from scratch. So now, in order to figure out my change in y portion, you can look here. This is why you want to put these two columns next to each other. If you multiply dx times dy dx, then your result, right, the dx's are going to cancel and you're going to get a dy. So then if I'm looking to multiply those, I'm going to have a negative 0.4. All right, so now for my new x coordinate, I'm going to look at my x column. I started at 0. I changed to positive 0.4. So then my new location has to be at a positive 0.4. For my y, I started at 1. I changed a negative 0.4. So that means I finished at a positive 0.6. And then you take these two new columns and you put them to start off your new row. Then you just repeat the process. So like I said, delta x is the same. So some people like to preload that column to make sure that you feel like you have something done. You feel like you don't forget it, for whatever reason. All right, so now we're back to the dy dx column. I've got x minus y, so I'm looking across to my coordinates. So if I subtract my x and my y, I've got a negative 0.2. Now I'm looking to solve for dy. All right, so I'm looking to do my multiplication here of my dx and my dy. So it's going to be a negative value. So I'm going to have a negative, watch your decimal points here. You're going to have 8 cents here after you multiply. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to, my x was 0.4. I changed 0.4. So I'm going to be at a 0.8. Oh, you guys don't like green. I'm going to go back to black. So I'm going to be at a 0.8. My y started at 0.6. I went down 8 cents. So you started with 60 cents. You went down 8 cents. So now you're at 52 cents. All right, so let's pause right there. So from my graph earlier, I said we were at 0.45. Actually, we were at 0.52, so I was pretty close on my graph. All right, so now we're going to keep going here. So we got to find our dy dx column. So I'm going to take my expression, x minus y. So I'm going to come over here. I've got 80 cents minus my 52 cents is going to be 28 cents. All right, and then you take your dx column and your dy dx column, and you're going to multiply those in order to get to your dy. So you're taking your 0.4 multiplied by 0.28, and you're going to get 0.112. All right, and then we go ahead and we say, all right, we started at 0.8. We added 0.4, so we know we're going to be back at a 1.2 here for my x. I started at 52 cents. I added 0.112. So I'm going to be finishing at 0.632. So then that tells me, right, my final amount here for this column is going to be 0.632. So from the table, using Euler, I know that they use y. They don't use f here. Let's get rid of f. They use y. My y of 1.2 is 0.632. And from the graph, right, I just estimated it to be 0.7. Okay, so from the table, we can be more accurate using the precision, and you're not having to guess and draw straight lines and approximate from a curve. That is your Euler's method.